You get to feel a supramaximal weight, but you're not experiencing any psychological stress. It's very, very powerful. And the difference in gains were just dramatically. There's so much gain, so much faster. And under certain circumstances, there are documented cases like a lady lifting off the front of a 3,600-pound car to save her son. And there are documented cases of that. Pretty much.
I'd like to talk about concentric versus eccentric portions of a movement. Concentric generally being the lifting phase, and eccentric, of course, folks, the lowering phase. Is there a case for just doing concentric movements?
Yes.
Is there a case for emphasizing the eccentric portion? How does one balance those when thinking about soreness, recovery, and frequency of training?
Okay. Well, first of all, the case for concentric only is if you're trying to minimize muscle growth and if you also are trying to minimize soreness. So for athletes in weight classes or athletes in sports where you get punished by carrying extra weight, it's a very good idea. So for example, when Barry Ross coached Allyson Felix, at that point she became the fastest. She won the 200 meters in the world. She was 17 years old, I think. She was the youngest. And so he would have her do deadlifts, and they were concentric only. And she would have her drop the bar. And the reasoning for that is exactly that. You're able to get stronger. You're not putting on extra muscle mass. Also, it's safe. It's really a very, very safe way to train. And in programming a protocol for somebody who's not necessarily in that boat, it's still just for the sake of variety. You may want to choose to avoid the eccentric on certain days, like you're trying to recover, accelerate the recovery. So you lift the weight, but then you step down. So you could definitely do that. Eccentric work, it's supposedly very helpful to promote hypertrophy, but there are a lot of ifs and buts in there. I'm going to talk right now about the eccentric work for strength specifically. It's because the muscle is strongest whenever you're lowering the weight. It's very easy to do something knuckle-headed and get hurt, which is gym bros do that all the time. And instead of doing that, what the much wiser approach is to get a perfect spotter, great competent spotter, and put on, after you've done your normal couple of low repetition heavy sets, add maybe 5-10 pounds over your maximum and make a perfect eccentric with an intention of lifting it. So you're lowering this bar that you just, the bench press barbell. You're lowering it to your chest and you're loading yourself like you're ready to press it back. You pause on your chest without losing tension. You're ready to blast it back. And then your spotters take it off you. And you do this about 2-3 times. This sort of a strategy or variation of it was used by Rick Will. He was able to bench press over 500 pounds wearing a t-shirt at a body weight of $181 back in the 80s, one of the greatest bench pressers, who was extremely intelligent about his training. And he did the same thing with his heavy attempts as well. And incidentally, not even better, I should say you do this on a different day. When you combine this same type of eccentric with a very perfect assisted rep, not forced rep like bros do. It's all you, bro, and the guy's shaking there and dying. No. So again, let's say that your best bench press is, 315. So you load up 325. You lower it perfectly, and you're lowering at the speed of your max attempt. So you're not going very, very, very slow. You know how guys do it. They take the first quarter of the range of motion very slow, and then they fall through. That doesn't do anything at all. No, you lower it at that rhythm of your maximal weight. You pause, and then you press it, and your training partner gives you enough assistance to make it feel like it's about your 90%. So the fact is you get to feel a supramaximal weight, but you're not experiencing any psychological stress. It's very, very powerful. And again, you do this maybe for 1 or 2 singles. This also ties with the Soviet research on gymnasts. They came up with something called artificial controlling environment. So they compared a group of gymnasts that was working up to some strength-demanding skill with doing typical regressions. And at the same time, they were also working on typical strength training, weighted pull-ups and so on. And the other group would have the coach provide this perfect assistance to enable the athlete to perform the skill at a higher level, as they put it, living their motor future, but with enough help not to make it hard but not stressful. And the difference in gains were just dramatically. There's so much gain, so much faster. So I would say that would be a very good way to use eccentric work. Isometric training calls can also be very powerful for strength. And a great value of isometric training is in its ability to coach you to lift properly. And not just lift properly, other athletic events as well. If let's say that you're trying to learn to throw a front kick and you're doing it, you're all over the place. But if you place your foot on a wall, and if your coach or sensei positions your body, your foot in a certain way, and teaches you to start applying pressure to that wall and the ground at the same time, and kind of pulse it against the wall, adjust your body, and then you relax, shake off your muscles, and you go hit the bag, and suddenly you're going to do so much better. The same thing, let's say that you're trying to optimize your position for the bottom of the deadlift. So you load up more weight that you could possibly lift, and then you wedge yourself under, and you start applying pressure, and it doesn't feel good, so you change it a little bit. So isometrics are very powerful for not just for strengthening the sticking points, but also for optimizing the angles. Then we're also dealing with something that there's also great disinhibition effect. So what your listeners might not know is, so there are you have two pedals in your nervous system, as in, pardon me for telling you this, you don't need, obviously you know all this, but there's the excitation and inhibition, there's the gas pedal and the brake pedal. And there are various influences, some of them psychological, but not all of them, that are taking away from your strength. That's called inhibition. And under certain circumstances, there are documented cases like a lady lifting off the front of a 3,600-pound car to save her son. And there are documented cases of that. So that disinhibition takes place. So isometrics does have some disinhibition effects, properties, very, very powerful. Also, isometrics teaches you not to give up on a heavy attempt. Because if you put, the experiments were done in a safe manner on the machines, obviously, but if you put an inexperienced person and the machine is moving at a slow rate, so when it speed starts approaching zero, that inhibition takes place. So pretty much the subject thinks the gig is up. I'm not going anywhere. That's it. I'm done. I'm just giving up because I failed. But training with isometrics allows you to develop this kind of a neural drive endurance that you need to grind through safely through a heavy attempt. So very, very powerful. How would you incorporate isometrics into it? So you can do this as a part of your warm-up. You can also do paused reps. They're fantastic. It's when you combine eccentric, concentric, and isometric contraction all in one. So perfect example for the squat, you lower to parallel, and you stay tight, and you stay there for 3 to 5 seconds, and then you explode upward. So that's a great way to train.